Welcome to Called Voices in STEM, the podcast that highlights the experiences, challenges, and career stories of women in STEM. Join us as we explore the stories of these inspiring women and learn more about the diverse contributions they are making to the world of science. Here is your host, Dr. Chloe Lim.
Hi everyone, this is Dr. Chloe Lim, and you're listening to Called Voices in STEM, a podcast that highlights the experience, challenges, and career stories of culturally and linguistically diverse women in STEM. Before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land throughout Australia and pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging, and acknowledge the deep contribution that they make to the life of our city and our region. In this episode of the Called Voices in STEM podcast, I'm very excited and honored to have Sakshi Nanda with me today as our podcast guest. Sakshi is a proficient engineer with a unique blend of electronics instrumentation and biomedical engineering. With a background rooted in a culturally diverse heritage, she recognizes the immense value that different perspectives bring to the engineering field. Her personal experiences as a migrant have further ignited her passion for breaking down barriers and paving the way toward a future where diversity and excellence go hand in hand in the engineering industry. Well, welcome, Sakshi, to the podcast. Thank you so much for taking your time today.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to talk and share my viewpoints about my journey.
Yeah, fantastic. I think there's a lot to learn from you, I would say. So tell me a little bit more about your background and how you became interested in STEM.
Certainly. I come from a culturally diverse background, and growing up, I have always been fascinated by the connection of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And as a child, I was always very curious and loved exploring the world around me, especially within the science and engineering, always fascinated. And this curiosity started becoming into a passion when I got an opportunity to build a heartbeat monitor during my year 9 science research project. And I realized that my appetite for understanding how things work around and finding innovative solutions to problems turned out to be more motivating day by day. And I suppose that largely my parents played a very big role in that, given that my father is a physicist and my mother comes from a medical background. So they have played a crucial role in nurturing my interest in STEM and encouraging me to pursue my passion. And by providing the relevant resources and exploring various scientific fields have given me that curiosity and more interest in STEM. And that's how, with my family support and my personal curiosity towards science, I really become interested in STEM, and then I pursued engineering afterwards.
Gosh, well, it's interesting, isn't it? I think a lot of times with scientists, the parents actually do play quite a huge role in encouraging the children to be scientists. I mean, I'm a scientist, obviously, as well, and my husband's a scientist too. And my children, somehow, they just love watching science programs. So maybe there's that, that's that influence that parental influence that comes in, isn't it? So tell me a little bit more about the engineering field. So you said that you went into engineering. So what's the education pathway that you took in terms of getting your engineering skills?
So I started, I think, after that project, year 9, and my dad was also teaching in the same school for going into university. He used to prepare students for the competitive exams. So I've been raised in that environment. So I've seen that all competition around, and I got really curious of giving engineering exams, and my dad prepared me for that. After that, I got a good selection at a good university, and I got an opportunity. There were a lot of engineering fields that time, but I got really fascinated with this electronics, instrumentation, and control engineering, which had a mix of all of the engineering fields. So touching base on computer science, material science, and then computer science, electrical, instrumentation. And that's really took my interest. It was very attractive that time. And I'm glad that I pursued into that stream. And while I was studying that instrumentation, there was one of the course called biomedical instrumentation. And that took my attention that it is a very good mix because all the time I've been like my dad being a physicist and a non-medical background and mother being from medical background. So I always have that mix of both. And I thought this is brilliant. I can do engineering and become help improve and provide solution to the health industry and create or innovate or help engineering and health together. So after that, I became really interested in biomedical engineering. And once I migrated to Australia, that's when I got another opportunity to pursue biomedical engineering, which I did with a full-time job and
Oh,
my
gosh.
2-year-old with overnight studies. But I did that with big motivation and support from my husband.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. So were you doing like a master's in biomedical engineering? Was that what you did? Or while you were
Yeah.
working full time as well?
So I did an advanced diploma, which was 18 months course, full time. It was quite extensive because it was every week modules and every week assignments. And that time, even my employer was quite supportive. They gave me good working hours where I could go back early and study and also look after my family.
Oh,
So it was a
gosh.
good mix of a lot of support from employer and family. And I was able to complete that in time with great marks.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So were you doing were you working as a biomedical engineer yet, or you were working as what were you doing then?
So
While
that
you was
time, no, I was working at the hospital. So I was working in health records. So that was not aligned to what I was studying. But again, being in health, that's what mattered to me. Understanding the health system from every point of view and how it will help me future. So it was health records. Health records talk about all the devices and implants and that time they were moving towards digitalization. So, like you have electronic medical records, and those times it was physical.
Yes, gosh. So once you've got your advanced diploma, what did you do next?
I continued to work again in the health environment, and then with that studies and my experience helped me landing into dream role, you can say.
Yeah.
So, working as a biomedical engineer or a medical device assessor at Therapeutic Goods Australia.
Mm. Yep. And tell me a bit more about the work there. What was the main thing that you had to do there? And I guess I understand that you're not there anymore. You're not at the TGA anymore. And I guess where are you now?
So right now I'm working as a systems engineer at the Australian government. But right now that experience working from hospital with the studies, managing family was incredible time. But it wouldn't have happened with the right support at the right time. And me taking all the challenges, facing the challenges with a lot of positivity has helped me to reach my dream role and then move into further roles, which will help me develop professionally.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. So you're working as a systems engineer now, and you've got experience in the healthcare system. You've got experience, assessing medical devices as well. So can you share with us a project or achievement that you're really proud of in your STEM career?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I will always refer back to one of my biggest achievements that I'm incredibly proud of was presenting my first conference paper on emerging and innovative technology at the Society of Medical and Biological Engineering Conference. And that was my first chance, first experience to present something first time in Australia. And before that, I have done everything back in India. So this was a very big opportunity for me because I was nominated and I was asked by the chairperson to present. And during the conference, I received the opportunity to meet and work with the team of talented individuals from diverse backgrounds, which was very beneficial for networking as well. And I still remember presenting a paper in front of large audience was a very daunting task, and which can be intimidating very sometimes because it's huge audience, and that fear of talking in front can make you nervous.
Mm.
But I think with the right preparation and right mindset, I was able to deliver a very confident and engaging presentation. For example, like for content preparation, I meticulously researched and I took guidance from my mentors. I did a lot of online researching, took some online courses, how to speak, like the public speaking, and that helped me as well.
Mm.
And my presentation, I was tried primarily focusing because how technology will be integrated part of our lives, like mostly like wearables and implantables given with new technology or emerging technology. And after the presentation, I was given very valuable feedback from the audience and chairperson that it was very interactive and a very successful presentation.
Oh,
So
that's
this
fantastic.
achievement is really close to my heart because given that it was the first thing which I did and the large audience. After that, there's plenty of achievements. This is but one of the things which will always stay with me. And because also helped me networking with the right people. Because while I was working in the hospital at Health Records, and my employer gave me an opportunity that she gave me because she was understanding that I'm studying and this will help me networking. She gave me that day off to go and network. So right
Mm.
got support as well.
Yeah.
And even my employer was from a diverse background, so they understood and let me go network and attend a conference which was not even related to my work. But that really helped networking and understanding how that biomedical works. Yeah. And I think this achievement not only demonstrated on my technical skills, but it also showcased my ability to communicate effectively and articulating that information in a very succinct opinion, especially, how engaging with a technical and non-technical audience. So
Yes. Yes. Yeah, no, it's very important, when you're giving a talk to cater for the audience. And when your audience is a mix of non-technical and technical, you
mm,
really have to get that balance right because you want to make sure that you've covered enough detail to keep the technical audience interested, but
mm,
then not lose those who are non-technical as well. So I think that sounds like you've done an amazing job during that presentation. Now, I'm really curious about this talk that you gave because you said that it is to do with integrating technology into our lives
mm.
using wearables and implantables. Can you give us a little brief, maybe summary as to what your talk was about and how will those sort of technology impact our lives?
Yeah, it was a few years ago. I'm sure that technologies has improved and come far along. But that time, it was when after researching, I visualized that and I presented it in the way of a life cycle of like in a human life cycle. So starting from baby to adolescent age to old age and different technologies. For example, for baby, we've got this wearable socks, which will tell you that what are your baby's vital signals and like a baby monitoring. What I cannot remember from top of the head.
Yeah.
So one of the example there, and then adolescents, we've got this bands which will tell you while your child is away if they're having any issues. Like for example, they've got diabetes, or they will tell that information on your phone. So those sort of bands or fitness bands which have giving you health information as well. And then talking about going to old age like rehab programs where your physios gives you you're wearing something on your, I think it's more again like a you wear wearable or it is an implant and you're doing exercises and that
Mm.
is incorporating into your app, and then your physio is sitting remotely but can has built a program for you, can see your activity, can see your history, how long you have gone, or can improve your program or can give you guidance along it. So all this taking to that human life cycle, how it's integrated or how it's gonna be in coming future. And that was years ago, so things have changed now.
Yeah. Do you know the current state of play with some of these wearables?
I think with the first one, there is I know there's one for the because when I was on maternity leave, I
Mm.
figured it out that there was one device like I can't remember the company's name.
Mm.
It's been a while. So if you got a pump, if you got to pump the milk, you need to have that electrical and it's wired. And then while you have your baby with you, it's really hard. But that company has developed into like hands-free, like a wearable breast pump, and you just latch it on and you just monitor with your mobile app that how much vibrations you need, how much production you need, and then you can control everything just while you are nursing your baby or your baby is sleeping. There is no noise. You can every control through your app. And yeah, everything is done quietly when your baby is sleeping, and you can store the milk. And it's very easy to wear, and there is no cumbersome wires or anything. So that's what I looked up, and I was like, oh, I did include, and now how this has changed along all these years.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting, isn't it? Because I think a lot of these wearables, I guess, also comes, for me, I feel like it comes in waves and trends as well. Because sometimes maybe one thing will be very popular for a while, but then something else new comes along and then people would revert and change to something else. It's like getting the new Apple iPhone or something like that, So, so they want to upgrade, they want to get the next good thing, the next big thing, the latest model and things like that. So that's very interesting. So tell me a little bit more about, we talked about things changing. Were there changes in your life or challenges in your life that you faced as a culturally diverse woman in STEM? And can you share some of those with us?
Yes, definitely, because I have faced unique challenges along my way. And being culturally diverse women and also coming as a migrant, they are very unique challenges. And one of the dominant challenges I have always come was stereotypes and biases. I've also felt and struggled to find a sense of belonging predominantly in male and non-diverse environments, which has impacted my confidence and well-being. But with the right strategy, I've overcome. And I've also encountered situations where my abilities and expertise were questioned or undermined due to preconceived notions. And I believe that lack of representation and limited access to role models from similar backgrounds has been more challenging because you can't relate to someone who's from the same background and you haven't seen that at your workplace. For me, overcoming unconscious biases and developing a space where my contributions are valued and recognized has now been an ongoing journey. But I think, however, I've always believed that navigating through these challenges, I've become more resilient and determined to succeed in my STEM career. And it has proven, for me, I always think that diversity is actually a catalyst for innovation. So it's not a hindrance. Take it as something which will help you to innovate because you will break that barrier and you will come out more stronger.
Yeah, no, it's very challenging, especially in a field like engineering, because usually it's a pretty male-dominated field, isn't it, engineering? And you probably find yourself surrounded by more males and perhaps, like you said, non-diverse males as well. And do you have a specific examples that you're willing to share with us of how things have been quite challenging?
In my different roles, I have come along just working in this male dominant team or just females. But I have worked in one of the team where it was a really good balance as well, where I didn't find any troubles. I think starting with biomedical in the beginning, I was working along men. And then I felt that because I was new to Australia as well, and I was a bit shy, a bit intimidated, and felt that not belonging. So it has always been a bit of a struggle for me in the beginning. But I think with right support, guidance, networking, I've overcome that with years. And even sometimes, let's say before going to maternity leave or having those struggle with your female issues, and if you are predominantly working in a male environment, you don't have that comfort level of coming out and you hold yourself back. But for me, it's more of you find out right people and try to communicate. Because if you hold yourself back, it will end up disrupting your health, your well-being, and it will end up in your personal life. It will add on to your stress. So the only way is to talk, to communicate, find a right person. And if you think you can't directly communicate in your team, maybe go to a supervisor, maybe go to someone else who can help out, or any facilitator. And then there are a lot of employee assurance programs. I've never used, but I know that they are really supportive. So if you struggle at work, you can always approach to them and they can help you out for any sort of biased or stereotypes, or if you're struggling where you need to express yourself. And also, there's taking a lot of online webinars, sessions also helps a lot because it kind of motivates you. Maybe you are at that point where you really want to talk, but something holds you back. But just one a similar story or one little bit of a push from your mentor or from anyone will help you to come out and talk.
So you're saying that there's this challenge of speaking up in a group of people that are different from you. And you're finding that a challenge, that you found that a challenge, and that's something that you've overcome through having that support network and also training yourself. Is that right? Because you talked about online webinars. So what sort of topics were you looking at or learning about with those online webinars?
From online, I've taken multiple online webinars. So anything which takes my attention that will help me. If I am struggling with something and if I see these things help me out for meditation or managing my stress, I would go enroll and get the key takeaway. Okay, these are the 5 steps I need to work to manage my stress. These are the things I need to work on if I am unable to talk.
Yeah.
And so I think the right direction, find right friends or right organization or any little, given it's like information world out there are heaps of information. You just find out you're relevant, and then talking also helps. So sometimes I would go out and talk to my friends. So what are they doing to overcome their child issues? So what steps they have taken? Maybe that can help me. Or if it can't help me, at least they're sitting in my knowledge storage and I can use it later on. But again, talking, networking, and speaking out. Or if you can't, if you're a bit shy or a bit intimidated to go and talk about your personal problems, go online and find and go for those programs which are a bit confidential and can help you.
Yeah. No, those are great points. I think, having that support, the community support to where you can feel safe to share about the challenges that you are facing and getting advice or even just a listening ear. Because sometimes, a lot of times, we just need someone to hear us out and for you to be able to share that. Because if you keep it all inside, it always tends to fester and it doesn't really get resolved. So seeking that external help is really important. Now, you've talked about how, as a personal person, like as an individual person, how we can overcome challenges. But in your opinion, what are the changes that need to happen in the engineering industry, for example, in your industry, create more opportunities for culturally diverse women?
Yeah, I think in my opinion, STEM industry needs to give more precedence to diversity and predominantly to the sense of belonging and inclusion. And that's very important. And I really focus on belonging and inclusion because that's when you start feeling comfortable. That's when your idea starts to flow. So, and I think this can be achieved by implementing various significant changes. Let's say that to begin with, we need to work towards especially debunking the stereotypes and elevating the impression that anyone, regardless of their background, can do extremely well in STEM fields. And for me, like mentorship programs have really helped. So I think establishing a mentorship program, providing access to role models, and very importantly, building networks will advantage connecting the culturally diverse women with experienced professionals and who will be able to provide right guidance and support. So that's why I keep focusing on networking and building with the right professionals and mentorship programs, because that will always help with the shadowing program, getting the right knowledge. And maybe they have come across the same struggle, and maybe you can relate and you can get that peaked. What did they do to be here? So what can I do? And those stories can help. So yeah, all these things they need to do. And one thing I've also want to say, that needs to organization should address to that unconscious bias hierarchy. And especially unconscious bias happens every day basis on hiring, promotion, and even everyday interactions, and which can eventually hinder career advancement processes. So I think workplace need to have that environment of inclusion and a room for diverse perspectives and experiences, and especially fostering that culture of inclusion in double commas. I keep emphasizing on that. And with all these strategies, we will be able to crack full potential of culturally diverse women and create a lively and innovative STEM community. So bringing those fresh ideas and creative solutions will also help to revolutionize the STEM community.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think, and even in the previous podcast episodes, a lot of the women were sharing about how important it is to have mentors, to have allies, sponsors, all the people within your network that can help with, I guess, having that representation, supporting you and helping you speak up as well, and presenting you, I guess, as a person who can move on to the next part of the career, to progress in the career as well. So I think that's really important too. So in the final moments of our podcast, what advice would you give to other culturally diverse women who are pursuing a career in STEM?
I think my main advice is to believe in yourself and your abilities. Embrace your uniqueness and value the perspectives you bring to the table. That's very, very important. And as I said earlier as well, that seek out for mentors, friends who can provide right guidance and support along your journey. And don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and to take on to new challenges, as they will become your growth opportunities. And lastly, don't forget to celebrate your achievements, no matter how small they are. To celebrate, it's very important because that gives you motivation for the next time. Yeah, and try to join or find communities or organizations that uplift and recognize diverse talent. And especially, I want to emphasize is to remember that your voice and your contribution highly matter. And as we discussed earlier, by persevering, you can make lasting impact in the STEM field. So I would say from today onwards, embrace your passion, seek out for supporting networks, and persist in the face of challenges.
Yeah, no, those are great nuggets of wisdom for sure. I think sometimes we don't see a lot of women working in STEM or being in the higher ranks or in leadership position in STEM because we hold ourselves back a lot. And that comes from, not believing in yourself or thinking that you're worthy enough to be at the table. And I think what you're saying here is that no, you are worthy enough. You have so much to bring to the table. Your contributions matter. Your voice matters. And I think it's so important for people to hear that. So I really want to thank you, Sakshi, today, for sharing your stories and your insights with us today. I really appreciate it. I'll just quickly summarize a bit about what we've heard today from Sakshi. So Sakshi had a huge love for science because she's got this parental influence from a dad and mom, one who's a physicist and one who's with a medical background. And she's combined both those love of science, different areas of science, to pursue biomedical engineering. And now she's working in a dream role, which is a systems engineer and doing what she really loves most. And we heard about how important it is to celebrate your achievements as well. We heard about her presentation, her first presentation in Australia, and how she did really well there. And she got the great feedback. And she's learned so much about herself there. And we also heard about the challenges that she faced while working in a male-dominated industry, and the sort of things that can happen, I guess, when you're surrounded by people who who do not really look like you. And that can be a challenge as well. So we also heard about how important it is to support people who do not look like us, to create that sense of belonging and inclusion, and that we need to be debunking stereotypes that surrounds the culturally diverse community, because we are all valuable. We have something to contribute, and we have contributed a lot as well. And I think it's high time that we recognize our contributions to the world, to our knowledge of science as well. So I really want to thank you, Sakshi, today. You've given us a lot of great insights and tips. So how about perhaps if you could tell us how people can be connecting with you if they'd like to find out more or reach out to you?
First of all, thank you so much, Chloe, for giving me this opportunity, inspiring other women in the STEM field. And all of you who's listening to me can connect to me on LinkedIn. And I think Chloe will be providing you the details.
Yep, absolutely. So I'll put Sakshi's LinkedIn profile link in the show notes as well. So I want to thank you again for sharing, Sakshi. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chloe.
So we've reached the end of our show, and thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others or leave a rating and review. If you have any questions about the things we covered in the show or would like to follow any of my projects, please find me on Instagram and LinkedIn. Thanks so much for tuning in today, and I'll see you at the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Called Voices in STEM podcast. Get the show notes, links and resources from today's episode by visiting drchloelim.com.